guys doing? Because I've been doing not so great. Not so great today. You see, the most difficult part in the job that I'm doing is that you gotta read the news every day and you gotta realize that these things that you're reading about actually happen to people. Like, there's actually individuals that are suffering from the stuff that you are reading. Like for instance, a man in the streets of London is carrying a toy sword from an anime TV show. And the police arrest him, and now he has to spend months in prison. Now, normally you read something like that, and it's like, oh, well, that's hilarious. But when you realize that, no, like, that actually happened to a person. It's not in my country, but it actually did happen to someone. Like, someone was on the street, minding their own business, not a hardened criminal or anything, just carrying this toy sword that they were using as a fidget spinner. And he's probably a father, he probably has family, he probably has relatives that now have to face with the fact that he's going to end up in prison, right? So you read this news, and it affects you at some level, even though it's not in your country, even though you don't know these people, you realize that, what if it happens here one day? At least I'm lucky and I don't live in such a civilization that punishes people for the most trivial shit. Like a person sharing emojis on social media. Like, who in their right mind 10 years ago would have thought that you can be arrested, you can do hard time, you can be placed next to murderers and rapists and thugs because you have posted some emojis on social media? Like, no one would have thought that. If you have a time machine and you go back with the news article, people would be abhorred. They would be like, well, what country is this? Is it China? North Korea? Like, well, what is happening? Did the Nazis come back? Are they starting the Fourth Reich in the future? Are they space Nazis? Like, how is this happening, right? So, today I read two stories that bewildered me, mostly because it's from my country. So this happened to a woman from the capital, a woman from Bucharest. Like, this is something that I would have never, ever thought that it would happen in Romania. Like, this is some American shit. This is some British shit. It's not Romanian. But, okay, so, this lady takes her child to the family doctor. Like, you gotta do this in Romania. It's not mandatory, but, you need to get them to get their shots. You need to get them so that the family doctor can see a checkup and see how the baby is developing, right? So, this lady, this mother, takes her child to the family doctor, and at the family doctor, the child wants to play with the mother's cell phone. And the mother says no. So the child does something unthinkable. It does something that no other child has ever done in the history of mankind. He throws a temper tantrum. Now, granted, the temper tantrum was a little bit extreme. Apparently, he was kicking and biting his mother. To which the family doctor is shocked by this and calls the authorities. So the authorities decide to take away the child from the parent and place him in protective custody. Like, the child is now placed in the care of a maternal assistant. It's like, what? Nani? Like, hopefully the news article is misleading or something like that. But I checked it and it's like from two other sources. Apparently the doctor was worried because the child seemed agitated. Like, no fucking shit, yeah. I am so glad, chat. I am so glad that I didn't benefit from such a family doctor when I was younger and I threw my temper tantrums. Because when I was a kid, I also threw my temper tantrums. But luckily, God bestowed wisdom upon the family doctors from my area, and none of them thought, oh yeah, like, we need to call in the government. We need to separate this child pronto, put him in the care of an institution. Even to the bosom of a loving, actual institution that's compassionate, ran by the government, unlike the mother. Jesus fucking Christ. Right, so again, you read this type of news, and it's very bizarre, it's bewildering, it's like something that doesn't happen often, but you realize that there is a person out there and this did happen to them. I don't know if it's a far lefty doctor or what the fuck. Like, maybe, again, you know, you're reading it so you don't know what actually happened there. Like maybe the child was El Demonio. Maybe he was possessed like that child from The Exorcist. I don't fucking know. But even then, like, the problem wasn't that the mother was abusive. No, like, the child was abusive towards the mother. So they decided, well, this can't go on any further. No, apparently the kid wasn't trying to self-harm, but he was trying to bite the mother. Hi V, hope your day is good. Statism coming soon. Well, I mean, I can't think of a more status story than this. Check your tweet notification. Also, Spoon, about how no one interviews when children get disciplined in South Africa. What? Let me look at my Twitter notifications. Dude, you do realize that given the fact that I have 30,000 followers, I get tweet notifications every single second. Like, when I click, it's back to 20. Yeah, I know this, yeah. You ruined my flow. God damn it. I was in the middle of my flow and you ruined it. This is probably what I'm going to make tomorrow as a video. Let me show you. Give me a second. See, I thought this is normal. I genuinely thought that everyone lives this way because I thought that this is basic bitch common sense, but no, apparently this American comes to Romania and this American is bewildered. He is shocked. By Romania of all places. It's not even Poland. He's not even shocked by Poland. No, he's shocked by Romania. Look at this.
Most people don't come to this country, and I don't understand why. I'm standing in the middle of a city center with nobody else.
Yeah, people have jobs, man. People actually go to work. Like, if you want to see people in the middle of the city center, you gotta come on Saturday or Sunday. But like, people need to feed themselves, right? Like, put food on their table. So, in order to do that, you gotta work.
Look at this place. It's completely empty.
Well, what time is it? What time is it? It's working hour, motherfucker. It's working hour. People have to work.
It's completely empty. I'm in a random town in Romania. And look at this. Overnight, the businesses, they leave their tables and chairs outside.
But what the fuck do you want them to live them? Like, of course they're going to stand. Don't you see how many there are? Like, it would be a hassle to put all of these tables and chairs inside.
And nobody steals them.
Why would you steal a table and a chair? What do you do with that? It's cheap. You buy one. You know why you buy one? Because you work. We work for a living, right? Like, this is why no one is there. They go to work and then they buy their own chairs and tables.
You were in the US and you left your tables, and look, every business does it. If you left your tables and chairs outside without a massive chain on them, they would be stolen. And
You know, imagine if he comes to my city and sees that businesses also have plasma TVs outside. I'm not kidding. Like, imagine like this place, there's a big plasma TV and it's off because no one is there.
And scrapped, and you would never see it again. There's no way this is a real thing. They have a McDonald's drive-thru, but for your feet.
You can actually go to a drive-thru without having a car in my country. I don't know if they do it in other places, but you can actually go to the physical drive-thru if you so desire, and you can sit yourself behind a car if you want, and you can go by the window, yeah.
You just walk up to this window and order McDonald's. You don't even need a car for that. And you won't believe this. Not only do they leave their tables and chairs out, they leave a piano outside. Look,
man, God will punish you if you take it, right? Like, Jesus doesn't like that thing. Religion, important. See, Americans have their own religion, the woke ideology, right? Like, do the woke punish you if you steal? If there's a piano outside and you take it, do the woke get upset? No, but if there's a Discord channel with no one inside and you're committing the racismus, oh, then they get upset, right? Then they start popping in. It's like, oh, what did you say? Oh, what did you mean by this? But how can you say that? How can we allow? How can we allow? Right? Like, here in Romania, people are God-fearing. That's what we call God-fearing. So if you take that, God punishes you. All jokes aside, though, it used to be a lot more dangerous. Used to be a lot more dangerous in Romania. We didn't. When I grew up, none of this was a thing. And I keep telling people, it's like, look, the crime level is low because when you're looking at these stores, notice that there's no bars. There's nothing preventing people from damaging the window. These are normal windows, by the way. They're not bulletproof or anything, right? And you can see that inside there's the product. But no one wants to break the window. No one does that. No, we don't do that here. No. So there's a lot of misconceptions that Romania is a bad place. But no. Although I do need to have this, you know, like the Kamala Harris video. Don't come. Don't come. I need to put that there, right? Because Hi V, the Italians have returned to Ohio to try to fix their mistake over a lower roller coaster in my park. Ever trust the Italians with electronic? Is that a thing though? V, are the Romas Romanian or Indian? It's actually an interesting story. From my knowledge, initially people thought they're from Egypt, but apparently they're migratory people that came from India. How many NASAs do you have running around? Oh, goodness gracious. You completely BTFO'd me with that. We don't have NASAs. Yes, no. Wait until the EU forces cultural enrichment on you. You know why cultural enrichment doesn't work in Romania? I remember this during like the Great Migration Crisis. There was a couple of migrants that were crying on television. I was like, well, why are they crying? What upset them? And apparently the reason they were upset is because they got fingerprinted. And at the time I didn't really understand. It's like, what do you mean they got fingerprinted? Like, what does... Well, apparently, according to EU law, the nation that you get fingerprinted in is the nation that you have to stay as an asylum seeker. So basically they were upset because now they can't go to the land of milk and honey, which is Germany, France, the UK. Why is Germany, France, and UK the land of milk and honey? Because they have welfare. Romania is a poor nation. We can't afford welfare. We would really wish that we had welfare. In fact, based on how much I'm getting taxed by the current government, we should have ample welfare. But we don't. So, you know, it's not as... impressive as other nations. You know, I'm pretty sure like the people that are coming in Europe, they're coming for the culture, right? So we do not have the same cultural enrichment like Germany, Britain, or France, and we're not as attractive to people as those beacons of culture from Western Europe. Of course, no one in Romania is out during the day. Yeah, that does make perfect sense, doesn't it? The language is difficult. I mean, Romanian is a complex language. Meanwhile, you know, English is something that's international, so everyone wants to go to Britain. France, also the language of love. People want to go there. V, we should send Kamala and all her stunning and brave Democrat supporters to Romania to benefit from all that. Don't come. Do not come. Do not come. Vlad was from Wallachia. That is true, but like, goddammit, with the American authors trying to tell Romanian stories without understanding the actual lore. Right. There was a problem with Chase Bank. So, TikTokers caught in debt trap. This, like, how can I put this so I don't violate the OS? Because this is a little bit difficult now. How can you be such a poopy head in order not to understand that you cannot cheat the banks? I mean, look at this, right? We're going to go into what happened in a little bit. But this TikTok video went viral, millions of views.
Fuck, man. They really told me to tap in. Next day I was supposed to clear and look at my account, yo.
So the gentleman is not happy. We got to see the account with minus 31,000. Now, here's the thing, right? Apparently, a TikToker started this trend, which like here on the left we get to see the trend that the TikToker started. Apparently, he found the glitch in the Matrix. Apparently, he figured something out that no one else did. Right. So as you can see, the gentlemen are very happy with their discovery. Now, I want to say something. You know, most normal people, unlike TikTokers, most normal people, they would actually get a heart attack if they were to wake up one day and find that they have like $10,000 in their bank account. That's not theirs. You know, like $10,000 that wasn't there before. They would have a heart attack not because of happiness, but because they would start worrying. Stop worrying because, you know, unlike the situation, the moral conundrum, it's like you're walking down the street and you find the suitcase with $1 million. What do you do? You know, like that is a moral conundrum. But when you find like $10,000 in your bank account, there is no moral conundrum. You have to figure out how to give it back because it's fucking electronic transaction. It's not your money, it's someone else's money. So like they will figure out where did it come from, and eventually you're going to have to give it back plus interest. And if you actually start taking it and using it, depending on the country you're in, you may even go to prison. So yeah, like if I were to wake up with 10 grand in my bank account and I can't justify where they are from, oh la la, like that's another part, right? Like imagine getting like $70,000 and being unable to justify where you got them from. I mean, even if the bank would be like, okay, you know, fine, it's bank error in your favor, like the Monopoly man says, you would have the IRS putting up their dildos, willing to ram your ass. They have guns now, I understand. So, like, that is absolutely not a single way that you can look at this from a positive light. This is not a good event, you know? Like, if you're playing Monopoly in 2024 and you get, like, bank error in your favor, you're like, no, take it back, please, take it back, right? God. So, what happened? Well, apparently, it's not a glitch. What they were doing is basic bitch credit fraud. Sorry, not credit fraud, check fraud. So basically the glitch that they discovered, I swear to God, TikTokers, man, like every single time that TikTokers, like there are a lot of frauds that exist in the world, you know, and they're all cataloged, like the authorities know about them. Like in 2024, it's difficult to come up with a new one simply because humanity has lived for so long that we pretty much discovered most of them, right? All of them have a fucking name. Like they even have a name for it. But no, TikTokers every day discover something new. You know, they discover a new one and they're pretending, oh, well, how could no one think about it? Why is no one else doing it? Well, it's because it's illegal. That's why no one else doing it. So basically what they discovered is that if you write a check to yourself and then use your mobile phone in order to scan it, and you rush to an ATM before the check clears, you can actually get the money off the ATM, right? Which, again, is something that Chase Bank fixed and then gave all these people massive debts to their account. And now they're like, oh, how did this happen? The demo, shikushi. TikTokers, man, what can I say? The thing, though, is that I assume if it was fixed in one day, chances are they didn't end up spending all the money. Am I being too generous here to make this assumption, chat? Am I being a little bit too generous here? Am I? If I assume that they haven't spent the money in one day, so now they can return it, am I being a little bit too generous? To people with trash credit, it's the bank's problem. That may be true, though. Yeah, but this is a loan that will follow you forever. So while it is the bank's problem, I think like if you get any type of income, the government garnishes it and gives it to the bank. Like it's not something that's positive for the individual. American Outlier tells me that I have to generate. How the fuck can you spend 30 grand in one day though? Like come on. There's no way you can spend that. I refuse to believe it. How can you spend that much? Like what exactly? Even if you want to buy a car, like it takes a while for the transaction to clear. Like you still need to sign the papers, the documents, the shit. This recent TikTok trend literally reads like a paddle of shit. Kasaw! Well, I think like what happened though is that the person who quote unquote discovered it was an African American gentleman, and most of his subscribers were also African Americans. So, it probably got contained among that community, which is why when you're looking at the news, you keep seeing individuals from that community. It's because it didn't have time to spread to the Asian community, to the other communities. That's my interpretation. Yeah. They do have notoriously low impulse control, these TikTokers. Jesus Christ. Alright. TikTokers is fine. Yeah. I think we can trick TikTokers into believing that working at a job is an infinite body glitch. Well, that is a question, yes. 350 Barrett rifles is about $30,000. Well, they're that expensive. Holy shit. I think I was 16 when even I figured out that you can't fuck with the banks. Like something just didn't sit right with me when I was reading the Monopoly thing. It's like bank error in your favor. I was like, wait a minute. So that's such a good idea. Not the best move. Let's put it like this. Not the best move. All right. What else we got today? Oh yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. People are starting to notice. I love the fact that normies are starting to notice. Tacos, sushi, and what the fuck is this nonsense, right? So like this is Dungeons and Dragons in 2024. Like your fantasy is stock photos. Cause like there was something extremely offensive about these pictures, and I just couldn't figure out why. You know, like I would see Dungeons and Dragons promotional material coming out, and there was like this inner repulsive hatred towards the pictures, and I couldn't justify like why do I, because it wasn't like I don't like, no, I hate it, I despise it. And then I figured out what it is. It's like, they're stock photos. It's people in the office. Like, I hate the cubicles. I fucking hate the office. And this is the fantasy that they expect now people to pay money for. It's like, you don't need to pay money. Just get a fucking job and experience it yourself. So like, yeah, instead of, like, showing how these people are in a dungeon fighting a beholder, or you have, like, the lady with big fat tits and a massive sword, so you want to go adventure with her. Instead of having that, now you're having like, oh, look, these people are eating. Isn't this cool? Like, don't you want to have a fantasy when you're out there eating tacos? Isn't this like what you're always dreaming about? Isn't this like your deep, dark secret? I gotta say, man, these developers, holy fucking shit, they must be some of the loneliest people in the world. Like, what is their fantasy? Their fantasy is to sit at a massive table and have friends. Sit at a massive table, have a transgender friend, and have like 2 women and have fun. Like, literally, this is what these people who are making these games, this is what they covet, this is what they desire. It's so fucking sad, isn't it? It's so fucking sad. What do you want to do when you grow up? I wanna have friends. I wanna eat tacos. Yeah, no, and the thing is, like, you have, like, all of these people with various flags and paraphernalia in their bio that are still using Twitter. And they're like, what's wrong with it? You know, like, these people just don't understand reality. I don't even know why they're not using ChatGPT. Like, they're like a 5-year-old, you know? Like, what is this? What is that? Why is that like that? How does this work? How does that function, you know? Have you met those people, right? They're the intelligentsia. They're the educated ones. We're the dumb ones. They're the ones with the media literacy. They don't understand, like, why is it that showing tacos in Dungeons and Dragons is a problem? They just don't know how to use ChatGPT. They don't know that. It's because it's immersion breaking, you twat. It's immersion breaking. Like, the whole purpose of fantasy is to create a wonderful scenario where either people find it absolutely awesome, amazing, and cool, or people find it creepy in some way, right? Like 40K is creepy, that's why people like it. But it's not to recreate the real world. Unless it's like a specific genre. Dungeons and Dragons, the soul, the essence of Dungeons and Dragons is medieval fantasy. If you add tacos, if you add sushi, if you add, like, all of this shit that is from California, it stops being Dungeons and Dragons and it becomes cringe. Because you're destroying the immersion. It's like, imagine Game of Thrones and you see them eating sushi and drinking Starbucks. You can't take the show seriously anymore. You can't immerse yourself into their storyline. You can't immerse yourself into that universe. God, why is this so fucking difficult to understand? And it shows me that the people who are writing this have absolutely no clue what the fuck they're doing. So, like, if this is the trailer, if this is the best foot forward, I holler to think about the gameplay mechanics, about everything else, because they have a competency crisis. They can't even make some basic bitch promotional material that would attract people to buy their stuff. So if they can't do that, how can they do everything else? God, the fact that I even have to explain this. They have friends, but woke friends are toxic to each other, so they idealize woke friends acting like normal friends and still regular fantasy and the trash desire they want for their lives. I see. Probably true. You know what I noticed, though? I don't know what fucked up what fucked up my generation. But, like, a lot of millennials, and in specific millennials, I don't know if the Generation X is the same, but a lot of millennials, they wanted to be infantilized. To the point where you look at Google and they have a ball pit. You look at all these corporations and they're like a kindergarten with various colors and beautiful pictures. And you look at the entertainment that millennials created and it was all infantilizing shit. And I generally never understood why, though. Why? I think, like, Gen Z is a little bit different. I don't think, like, Gen Z is trying. Gen Z is watching, like, serious shit anime. I mean, anime with themes that are a lot more serious. Right? Like, they're usually watching, like, stuff that has to do with romance, which you can't find in the West anymore. Like, almost no TV show has any type of romance or resembling normal heteronormative interaction between people. So, like, those animes are very popular. But they're also watching, Legacy of Shield Hero and Goblin Slayer were very popular, and those have, like, deep themes. Attack on Titan, right? Like, they're not watching stuff that's infantilizing. They're not watching SpongeBob. They're not watching, like, any of the other shit that the millennials used to consume. Wasn't the Starbucks coffee left on the table of Game of Thrones? Yeah, but it was an accident. They didn't actually, like, include it. There wasn't, like, someone that's making the promotional stuff and it's like, hey, let's include tacos in the fucking fan art. It's like, come on. Remember, a few years ago, they made an official campaign book about magical high school and prom for D&D. I haven't seen it, but, like, I guarantee to you, I can make that and make it awesome. Like, if you make it like a Hogwarts type of school, right? And you're making it like a magical academy in the style of Hogwarts, but you're using like D&D aesthetics and D&D themes. Yeah, I think it can actually work. So, I'm not going to diss it. I'm not going to diss it, but I'm not going to, Sorry, I just got one of my moderators from my server. I make a point in finding a woman of low moral fiber or a brothel in every country I visit, and then compare it to the prices on other places. Is this fine? I ask because I'm pretty sure it's illegal activity in lots of places. I don't even know what to say. I don't think it's a violation of Discord TOS. It's not something that I'm comfortable with the subject matter, but like... God, I really hate this. Like, Discord should ban this shit rather than make me make the decision. I think it's fine though. I don't think it's not illegal if you record it. It's terrible advice. Yeah, I wouldn't encourage anyone to do something like that. But like to have a conversation where you're talking about that, like yeah, I don't think it's illegal on Discord. Like I don't think it's a bannable offense. It's still very disturbing though. It's like, dude, just keep your hobbies to yourself. What the fuck? Yeah, I told him to ban it. Just ban it. To err on the side of caution. No fun allowed on my Discord. Seems like a generational thing about mental well-being. Like older generation haven't gotten the mental help. I don't think it's about mental help. I don't know what it is about. I think it's probably like the social justice thing was very infantilizing. Like the whole safe space, snowflake bullshit. I noticed that the Gen Z don't talk about safe spaces anymore, right? So like we still have political correctness. We still have like a lot of the nonsense. But at least some of the vocabulary that was very infantilizing, like safe spaces and hugs and kisses and XOXO type of shit. Yeah, like those are gone. Thank God. Yeah, we don't have participation trophies anyway. I don't know why it is the way it is, to be honest. But I'm glad. It was so fucking cancerous. Like, I'm talking with people that are from my generation, and I have this acquaintance of mine that works at Facebook. She works in sales. And she was saying that she absolutely despises this whole thing where, oh, we got a ping pong table and we have Nerf guns and shit. And it's like, well, I'm at work to work. Like, I'm not at work to play. Like, yeah, sure, I'll make friends as in co-workers, and I talk with my co-workers. Like, I'm not antisocial. But they're not really my friends. They're not my family. Like, I got a family at home. I want to go out at work. I want to do my job, and then I want to fuck off. And this is why a lot of people don't even want to go to the office anymore. Because, like, at the office, they can't fucking work. Open offices, lots of distractions. Heaven forbid if you're ADHD or you're suffering from some autism where like, anything can distract you. And you have to focus on your work. Yeah, the Google has a ball pit, and apparently it smells. Probably doesn't smell, though, because no one uses it. By the way, ball pits, I never enjoyed them when I was a kid, because they didn't have them here. We had communism when we didn't have ball pits. But I heard they're actually incredibly smelly and unhygienic. And in a way, I think it makes sense, right? Because, like, you go with your street clothes or you sweat, and you go into the ball pit, and like all of your all the stuff on your clothes, on your street clothes, your shoes, like everything, right? Like it rubs on the balls, and then the balls like go underneath, and then they keep like moving. So eventually, unless you have like someone that takes every single ball out and starts washing them with disinfectant at the end of the day, then yeah, it's going to be a really nasty place. They're always full of how the fuck does vomit get into the ball pit, man? Our generation was the peak of progressive indoctrination, which eroded the standards in the West to the point where the left don't know what a woman is, and the right is seen as based because they can. I suppose maybe. Kids also piss in the ball pit. Oh, come the fuck on. Don't younger children pee and poop in the ball pits? Oh, dude, I refuse to believe that. They are gross, but it is sad they're gone. This modern world is unkind to children. Growing up in the 90s, it felt like society was built around kids. I never got that feeling. No, like there's a lot of places for kids now. Like dude, when I was a kid, I had to play in a parking lot. Like, that was the space that I got to play in. And there was always, like, car, and there's, like, a car coming in, right? You kick the ball too hard, and it goes into someone's lawn, or you kick the ball too hard, and you can hit a car, and then you get in trouble. But now, like, you go to several places, like, there's parks, there's malls, and they have bouncy castles, and they have, like, all sorts of exercising stuff. I don't know how it's like in the United States, but, like, here, I'm not afraid that my kid isn't going to find a place where he can play. There's a lot of parks and places where kids can have fun. Bank it on in your favor. Also, when I was 10, they tried to give me a participation trophy for track and field. I gave it back to them and told them I didn't want a reward for losing. That is so based. Yeah, no, like, the idea of a participation trophy was, like, the most cancerous shit. It's like, why do you have competitions? What is the purpose of a competition? And this is where the anime comes in, and I keep saying this much to the horror and dismay of people like Matt Walsh, that do not understand that I actually learned more right-wing values from anime that I have learned from the church, from my parents, from Matt Walsh, from social media. Right? Naruto actually teaches you why competition is important. So in the beginning of Naruto, he's a weenie. He can't achieve anything. He is really bad. But he gets in a competition with Sasuke. And he wants to compete. He wants to be as good as Sasuke. And that actually motivates him to study and to catch up. And then there's another character. I forgot his name. Is another character that's smaller, like a younger kid than Naruto. And he looks up to Naruto because now Naruto can do the Rasengan and other shit. And this kid is like trying to now work hard in order to reach the level of Naruto. And eventually he becomes a teacher or some shit. Same with Dragon Ball, right? You got Krillin and Goku in the beginning. And Krillin tries to improve himself to be like Goku. But eventually Dragon Ball is racist and he can't because Krillin is a human and Goku is a Saiyan. So he can never be like Goku. However, you have Goku and Vegeta later on, right? And they're like, Vegeta just tries constantly to compete and to reach Goku's level. It's why you have competition, and I have seen it in real life. Perfect example, I go to the university. My first year in university, I was with a very poor class. Now, these people in my class were lazy. They were partying all the time. They weren't focusing on their studies. And I was around B or C, and everyone was like treating me as this kid genius. Everyone was trying to sit with me at the exam so that they can cheat, so they can, get some help from me. And I gotta say, it felt good. Like, it felt good to be in the center of attention. You're the smartest kid in the dumb battle, But then I actually moved to a different class. And this one was actually filled with kids much smarter than me. Like, I was a little bit even under average when I just got there. And all of a sudden, I noticed everyone knows the questions. Everyone is, like, writing really good at the exam. And this motivated the living shit out of me. I didn't want to end up, like, having a lady that I would consider dumber than me to give the correct answer. And then when it's my turn, I don't know what to say. Like, it felt shameful to actually see all the other students know what they're talking about and give good answers, and then when it's your turn and you have to give the answer, you don't know what to say. So I started studying really hard, right? And all of a sudden, I became better. Now, if I would have left with the previous group and I would have still stayed with the lazy ones, I would have never have improved, right? So the idea of a participation trophy is cancerous because you're telling people, oh, you don't need to grow. You don't need to improve. You're good just the way you are. But that's not what the companies think. And that's not what the people who fly a Boeing airplane wants to think about their pilot. They don't want to think, oh, well, just get a pilot, just get a random person. You know, they're good the way they are. Surely they will fly the plane. It doesn't matter if they crashed in the simulation 45 times. It's good the way they are. You know, just get a surgeon. It doesn't matter if he flunked med school and he's got like 45 malpractice. Give him a participation trophy. At least he's trying. At least he's trying. My class experienced brain drain, yes. Shame is an effective motivator, yeah. But you have to experience shame. Other people didn't experience shame. I would find it shameful to be in front of the class, get asked a question, and not know what to answer. Because other students knew what to answer, and the question was like, well, what is my excuse? Like, why can those students answer and I can't? Right, so, as I was saying, there were two news that shocked me. The other news was apparently a girl from my class, which I actually had in my fucking home, ended up in the newspaper, and not for the good reasons. Apparently she ran a scam, chat. She ran a scam. She pretended to be a doctor, and she gathered money for charity work and also loaned money from other people. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, what do you mean she pretended to be a doctor? Like, she was at the university with me. She was in the same year. And then I found out she didn't make it. She didn't graduate. And it's like, wow, such a fucking shame. Because you have the capacity, right? Like, you had the brain knowledge. Because she was like in year 2, right? So she passed already 1 year. So like, you have one of the biggest lucks in the world to actually, you know, start from poor and end up at the med school. Like, that is fucking luck. Do you know how many people would want that? You know how many people would want to be in your position, right? And you squander it. Like, you do have the mind in order to reach that level. And instead of using it for good, you're then like using it on scams and just dropping out. Yeah, it was embarrassing. And by the way, like, there's also the idea, like some people were like, oh, I lent her $1,000 and now she's not giving them back. And I'm like, first of all, like, in Romania, $1,000 would be like $5,000 in America, right? So imagine you're lending someone $5,000. I'm like, what the fuck lends someone else $5,000, dude? Like, unless they're a relative or unless they're your friend from childhood, and even then, if you lend someone $5,000, you should expect that there is the possibility that you may not get them back. Not necessarily because the person is scamming you, but maybe like the person is never going to be able to make $5,000 again, right? David Lammy became the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Get the fuck out. Ha! Oh my goodness. So, for those of you who don't know who David Lammy is, this man is a very, very progressive individual. He is so progressive to the point where I remember in 2016, or was it 2018 or something like that, he was basically saying that African charities shouldn't present Africa as a poor place. You shouldn't have like children that are starving in Africa on display. You shouldn't have like all of this thing. So what he accomplishes is like less people donate to charity now. And the charity was livid. And I'm thinking like, dude, it's a charity. Like, what do you want them to do? Like, show the rich kids of Zimbabwe? Like, show that kid with a Batmobile and the kid that had like $20,000 worth of gems around his neck? Like, do you want to show that? Do you think people will donate money for charity if that's what they would see? So now this brilliant politician is the foreign secretary. David Labi, which is announcing that the United Kingdom is going to suspend arms sales to Israel. Oh my goodness, say it ain't so. They're suspending arms exports to Israel over humanitarian rights violations. Well, there you go. This is what the newspapers are telling me about Mr. Lammy. I should see the Labour's entire cabinet. I don't fucking care, man. Like, at this point, I am entirely convinced that all politicians are actors. And when I say this, I don't mean in the sense that they're playing in Hollywood movies. I'm saying, like, all they do is they read from a prompter. They read from a prompter. Like, they don't do debates. They don't go on television to debate with the other politicians. Do they do that in the UK? Because I know they don't do that in the United States. But, like, do you see David Lammy sitting across Boris Johnson and talking politics? Or discussing political issues with Nigel Farage? Is that something that happens in the UK? Maybe it does and I'm missing it. But the idea is, like, without a prompter, these people are nothing. Anyone can be a politician. Literally anyone. I mean, Joe Biden is a politician. All you gotta do is read the prompter. That's it. You read the prompter and that's your politicianing for the day. And you get, like, a huge wage. Meanwhile, King Charles is like, what the fuck? Don't do that. We would be better off with random number generators than politicians. Well, apparently in Germany, there was a huge election and it seemed that the AfD has won. But luckily, democracy was saved just in time. Apparently, there was a software error. And the important seat that made the difference, that one doesn't go to the AfD. It goes to the left. So it's really lucky that they managed to catch that software error just in time. Just in the nick of time, they caught it. I don't understand, like, why did certain nations declare war on the pen and paper? Right? Because it used to be, I mean, in my country, it still is. We just put a stamp on a piece of paper. That's what we do here. But apparently, this is not okay. It's not, right? So look here. Miscalculated. Election officer admits the oopsie. AfD loses crucial seat. Far-right party no longer has a blocking minority in Saxony. Well, there we go, Chad. There we go. That software error that saved democracy. Democracy was almost gone in Germany, at least in Saxony, but that software error just in the nick of time, isn't it? In America, originally being politician was supposed to be a part-time job. Oh, Jesus, really? I mean, I think, like, the correct way for a political system would be if politicians didn't get to set their own wages, you know? Like, you would need a different institution, a different authority to set the wages of politicians. Supposedly, you know what? No, actually tie the de facto, like not the minimum wage placed by law, but like the minimum wage, or no, the average income. I think like that would be best, right? Take the average income in a country and multiply it by several times, and that should be the politician wage. And if you do that, then politicians would actually be incentivized to increase the average wage in the country so that they get paid more. Because the idea would be that, like, if all the people are doing well, then the politicians are doing well as well. But they're never going to do that, so... I'm giving it 5 years and voting won't exist anyway. No, voting will exist. You know, like, voting actually existed in the Soviet Union. A lot of people don't know that. So how was voting in the Soviet Union? Well, you went to vote and you had only one person. I'm not kidding. Dude, I'm not joking. It's true. Like, you were going to vote and it was one guy. And that's the guy you voted. Chat, do you think I'm bullshitting? Okay, there was obviously a caveat to that, right? Because it seems a little bit too ridiculous, right? Like, why even go to the voting station then? Well, if 50% of people didn't show up, so you only have like imagine this, right? You're in America, you can go vote, but you can only vote for AOC. So you go at the voting booth, and it's just like a paper ballot with AOC's name on it and nothing else. And if you write someone else, it doesn't matter, right? Like, no, you can only vote for AOC. So how would this system make it so it's not ridiculous? Like why would you even have people go in there to vote? And the answer was that if 50% of the people didn't show up, so you only have like 49% of people that vote, then AOC wouldn't win. So basically, like, you don't get to choose the person you vote for. The person is nominated. But if people don't show up to vote for that person, then they have to nominate someone else. In reality, of course, everyone was forced to vote, because if you don't go to vote, then they would fire your ass from the workplace. But there were cases where, yeah, like, people generally didn't go to vote, and they tried to weasel it, and they were like, oh, okay, well, no, actually, you know, it's not 49%, it's actually 55%, you know, we found some votes. But there were cases where people, like, legitimately en masse didn't go to vote, and even they couldn't fake it. So, like, in that case, it was like, well, I assume, like, the people are really pissed against this particular guy. Like, you know, he fucked up more than the average, so maybe we can find someone else. Mexico was also like that it was considered a democracy. 70 years of one party having power. Well, don't you guys have, like, the cartels now? I mean, like, I don't think you can actually have a democracy where people get assassinated. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't see, like, how that works. Poland did find a loophole to win a vote under the Soviet Union? Oh, did they? Well, a lot of people did try. My brother in Christ, this kind of happens in Brazil, but instead of the average income, we use the minimum wage as the basis for a lot of government wages. Yeah, but then the problem is that the government can just raise the minimum wage, right? So that's why I specifically said it shouldn't be the minimum wage. Because whenever the government raises the minimum wage, then you get economic shitstorm. So what you can do, however, if you tie it to the medium wage, to the average income, then the government can't just raise the average income. Like, that's ridiculous. You can't do it, right? So they would actually have to set economic policies that are beneficial for the nation. The minimum wage, like, if you raise the minimum wage, then people get fired, you get layoffs, you get people on the street. It's not good. It's not good. The worst thing you can do is to tie the amount of money that politicians make based on the minimum wage. Soon Germans won't be able to vote AFD anymore because they have to save democracy. I don't think they'll do that, man. Like, at this point, there are just so many people. Like it's one of the biggest parties in Saxony and in other places. Well, apparently not in Saxony. The software error saved us from that. But they're horrified that young people are voting AFD. Like, that's what worries them the most. And the main reason I think that AFD is getting so many votes is not because of immigration, like in Britain, is the COVID measures. It comes to bite them in the ass. Like, I speak with people, and they have, like, legitimate hatred in their hearts over the COVID measures. Like, they remember. And you know, like, people that would never have gone to vote, people that would have never cared about it, now they do. Like, now they feel that it's personal. And in a lot of European countries, it's like the people that were in power under COVID are now being helped by the young generation to stay home and stay safe. And to flatten the curve, right? The political curve of the percentages of seats that they have. Minimum wage in Lithuania is tied to the government employees. Yeah. Do not tie minimum wage to government employees. You need to tie the average income of the nation, right, to government employees. And I don't think there is such a system in the world. Because you can't tinker with it. They still wouldn't care because they can just make stock money from insider trading. I can also ban insider trading. I mean, this was a conversation in Romania, right? But like, how is it fair for the politicians not to have it? Say, well, you choose to become a politician, like you don't have to be one, right? So the moment you choose, you gotta make the choice. Like, do you wanna? The USA is now told that excessive COVID restrictions were all Donald Trump's fault. My memory of this situation was that Donald Trump was for the vaccine, but like he never told people to he never locked down the people. In fact, I don't think that Donald Trump has the authority to shut down businesses and lock people. That was a state level thing. It wasn't Donald Trump that told people, no, you need to stay home and stay safe and show the QR code and get your like third dose. Like, no, no. And again, I don't think that he has the authority to actually put that into action. Not to mention, you know, like the president doesn't actually say stuff. Like he's got a team of advisors and medical experts. So they're the ones that came up with the suggestions. Yeah, Trump's entire shtick was to get the job so we can get back to normal. Now, from the perspective of a person that's not a doctor and doesn't understand anything, it's like, okay, well, you have this illness, but the medical experts tell me that there's a vaccine for it, so like if everyone gets it, then we get back to normal. That sounds plausible, yeah. The Democrats weren't saying that, like the Democrats, when the pandemic first started, they were running the Stop Asian Hate campaign. And I remember like Vice magazine or other publication like it were publishing articles like why washing your hands is white supremacy. And they were showing Asian restaurants with the restaurant owner going like, well, no one wants to eat here. It's because of all the right-wing fear-mongering with this COVID shit. And they were trying to impeach Donald Trump. Like, that's my memory of what happened during the Trump presidency at the beginning of COVID. And then the Democrats were more concerned over changing the name. They didn't like the China flu. It's like, no, we can't call it that. I mean, we have the Spanish flu. We have the London flu. We have the West Nile. But we can't call it the China virus because, I mean, China is a communist nation. We respect communism here. So we got to call it something else. And they called it COVID. And then they had, like, all the variants. And they skipped the Z variant for some fucking reason. They went all the way to the new variant. Yeah. No, see, a lot of people don't have memory of what happened. But I was there, chat. I was there. I lived through those times. Anyway, right, I need to go and upload the videos for my secondary channel. So, thank you all for watching. Hopefully this was entertaining, and